just going to click this right here. Perfect. Okay, welcome everybody. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik Malseet people first signed with the British Crown in 1725. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik Maliseet title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Thank you everybody for attending this afternoon. I see everybody is here, pretty much everybody is here. We didn't get any regrets, I did not anyway. I'm not sure if Vicky got any. So we'll move on to number 2, the approval of the agenda. Is there anybody who has anything to add to the agenda today? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved by Warden Muse. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Mayor Mood. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Contrary, raise your hand. Motion carried. Good. Number 3, approval of the minutes. So the minutes of June 16th, 2021. Have you all had the chance to read them over? Yes? Okay. Councillor Surratt, are you moving them? Do we have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Barry? Any questions, omissions, anything on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. Contrary, raise your hand. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 4, business arising. So the first item in business arising, 4.1, is Mark Brophy is going to give us our usual update. So Mark, the floor is yours.
There. Good news. We have the one more update of the funding document, the text portion, full of renderings, everything just issued by EXP. We're really close now. Target, we're hoping to be 99.9 by Friday. Couple things left to populate, but we're getting really close. Good news. The online portion, Brandon's been through everything and he's got everything drafted out, ready to go. He's ready to hit send as well. So we have the executive summary is left to do. Alain's gonna start that. He already has, and that's the part that really, it's you know, what executive summaries do. It comes off the page and hits you. This is what we want: the commitments, the readiness, the requirement, how important it is to the community. So he's got a great start done on that. Yeah, we're just about there. There was something I said to Vicky. I don't know if that could be shared, but it's got the updated plans. It's got some updated renderings. Looks quite good. And the last page shows the budget. So Hanscom has, with what we'll call a Class D, validated that what we proposed on a square foot basis, Class D is typically 25%. We're on track for the $25 million on the new build, not the renovation. So there we go. So hard to read that, but it's pretty much the same as last time. That one, and then the second level. Next slide. Yeah, go again. Here's some renderings, lots of glass, a little bit of curve feature. Curves cost money more than square. The new entrance, some lovely landscaping, and then go again. There you go, at night, and then go again. Another view, and go again. And so this is basically what you call an element. This is a square foot design, or sorry, square foot estimate. So scroll down. And There we go. So there's one more sheet which shows the interior work, which supports the energy section, which would be closer to $5 million. So the 24 and 5 gets you to 29, which we're targeting. So yeah, EXP have done numerous updates. We're focused on certain sections. Got a great comments back from everybody participated, and yeah, we're ready to send on Monday.
That was my question. I know we have that July 6th deadline, but that's not your deadline, is it? You're hoping for earlier.
I got my second vaccine today. I'm going to Newfoundland soon.
That's right. No, but and it's good if we can send it earlier, because I'm from what I remember, there's been tons of conversations, but it's kind of like as they come in, they're looking at them right away. It's not a matter of waiting till July 6th, right?
What they call a continuous intake. They start to review when it's received, and some of the important points are readiness and confidence to deliver, and we've hit those. So when they see it, particularly with hopefully half of it already committed in funding, hopefully this becomes a yes.
Right. Good. Does anybody have any questions for Mark? We're on track. Looks like things are going well. We're on tracks. Okay. Thank you, Mark. If nobody has any other questions for him. Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Mark. We'll go on to 4.2, fundraising. So I put this on the agenda because we know that a portion of the money that we're looking to raise is going to be through fundraising. So we're hoping between $2 and $2.5 million in fundraising. So I thought it's something that we really have to consider thinking about sooner rather than later, because fundraising that amount of money doesn't happen overnight, and it's not a matter of us selling tickets or that type of thing. It's a big deal. We have to really come up with a strategy around fundraising. So there were a couple of documents that were added to the agenda that Jeff had sent around fundraising. Jeff, can I get you to just kind of speak to those documents if you don't mind?
Yeah, not at all. I'll tell a little story before I get to the documents, though, if that's okay. So around fundraising for this project, Victoria and I had an opportunity a couple of years ago now to meet with a fellow by the name of Brent Barutz at a FCM conference. I think that was in Quebec. And the reason we arranged to meet with him is because he runs a company called the Sponsorship Group, and what they do is they do corporate fundraising for major facilities. But in reality, what they raise for is operations. They don't do capital campaigns. That's not his area of expertise. He gave us references for other groups that do that, and I followed up on one of those last fall with a fellow who's actually based in Shediac. Both Brent and the fellow I talked to from Shediac, his name escapes me, talked about the need to do a feasibility study. And they talked about, the guy from Shediac talked about, setting 10% as a benchmark or a target. But in all reality, when you're proposing a major project like this in a community, you need to do a feasibility study around the fundraising to understand, what is truly possible within your community, and then talked about a little bit about the process. So I've had those two conversations, and I think we talked about them maybe several months ago at a steering committee meeting. I also had a tip Councillor Dares gave me about a person in our community who's got some experience with some large projects outside the community in other parts of Canada. Unfortunately, we were trying to connect, and a personal circumstance stood in the way. But she's willing to have a conversation, and I think that should be part of the work that we do, is to engage a person in our community that has relevant experience and perhaps wisdom to share with us. I also shared the documents. So the documents that I shared with you, one of them is a 2-page excerpt from a report that the town of Yarmouth commissioned on fundraising for large public projects. And it talks about feasibility study. It talks about somewhat about timelines, and that those timelines get set partially through your feasibility study. but it does speak to the time that, a quiet phase of fundraising might take you a year before you get into a public phase. And so I thought this document was important to share because it was certainly relevant in terms of the scope and scale of the work that needs to be done for this project of fundraising. I also included Cheryl Hodder's bio, and this happens to be from Mount Allison University's website, but it's a pretty good bio for Cheryl Hodder. The reason I included that is because Cheryl wrote the report. So I want you to understand who had wrote these words about large public fundraising campaigns. And Cheryl, as I say, was commissioned by the town to do some work, and this was part of the work and that she gave to us. So I bring that to this committee as a bit of information. I think there's a lot we all need to learn about fundraising. This is one of the things Dharam talked about early when we were talking about the terms of reference. Is we need to educate ourselves to know what we don't know before we take on big pieces of this work. I'm certainly no expert, but I do think that Cheryl, as well as the two experts that I did talk to, are all pointing in the same direction, is that we need to hire a consultant for something of this scale. And the first step in the process is a feasibility study. And so I share that, Madam Chair, for, I guess, to start the conversation.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so any discussion around that? What are the thoughts of that? So we're looking to fundraise. We hear from CAO Gushu that feasibility study is probably our first point. Hiring a consultant would be something we should think about. If we're looking at $2 to $2.5 million, if that's our target number, as I mentioned, it's not something we can do on our own. I agree with that. What do others feel? Councillor Surratt.
I guess start the conversation. So is that number 2 to 2.5? Is that, Madam Chair, is that a number that that we spoke about? I thought it was around the 1 million, 1.5. So is it 2.5? Is that what?
That's what we've said. That's what we've said. But I think part of the conversation and part of the documentation that CEO Gushu gave us is that might not be our number. And, doing a feasibility study, that's one way of figuring out what our number is. So we've kind of thrown those numbers around, but we're not 100% certain either.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councillor Dares.
Give some indication. The original Skate Yarmouth proposal that was spearheaded the construction of the Mariner Center. We probably raised, I think, in the vicinity of about 1.2 million. We did that without the benefit of a consultant or outside help, and it was probably about a 4-year project for us, and hundreds and hundreds of hours of person hours in a multifaceted fundraising campaign. With, I think, the largest donation we got was from the Windsor Foundation. We met with them and they donated 100,000, and that was the largest donation. I totally agree with the fact that we should have a consultant. We should have the feasibility study. We should proceed pretty much along the lines that CAO Gushu has mentioned, because I tell you, I don't know where anyone would find the energy to try to do what we did 25 years ago. I know I couldn't.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Surratt. Actually, I'm going to go to Mayor Mood. Go ahead, Mayor Mood.
I guess I'm always a fan of letting the experts do what the experts do. That's a large number.
Mm-hmm.
And like Gil said, 4 years, and they did an amazing job without the experts. But this is a huge project, and it's again, it's not about bake sales. It's about big picture. And I think that's what the experts bring to the table, that dynamic that we don't think of often. So that would be my
Thank you. Was there anybody else? Oh, sorry, Gordon Muse.
I agree. We need outside help. My question is, how do they work on a percentage basis? is collected, or is it a set fee, or how do they work for payment?
How do they get paid? Do you know that, CEO Gushu?
I don't know. I can't say that it's always a percentage basis, but I do know that is at least one way. I don't know if companies do this for a flat fee. Again, we need to
Research.
research, right?
CEO Muse?
So I'm looking at, thank you. So I'm looking at the application. If we take our resolutions, or I mean, presumably a provincial contribution, we don't know that. I'm not in the position to speak about that. But if you take a successful application from the federal, you might be in a position where the fundraising could be for operations as much as it could be for capital. So this is just to highlight that, just to raise that conversation, because one of the things that we did talk about with the experts and the Baruts of the world is that sometimes it's operations and sometimes it's capital, and it depends on the project. I guess that's just my way of saying, this is outside of our scope and we should probably get somebody to help us along. So it would be great to have that problem, that we would have more partners than we expected, but that doesn't stop fundraising effort, and that can look in different ways.
Thank you. CEO Brooks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I guess can you turn your volume down? Is that better? We're in the same space.
Yes, yeah.
So I guess I was just going to contribute, following on from what Alain and Jeff had said. When we spoke with Mr. Baruts, he talked about, when we go to the community or we go to possible investors or contributors, there are going to be people who are going to approach it like Alain said. They may be thinking about corporate sponsorship in terms of, helping to offset operating costs versus like a capital contribution or a philanthropic contribution. And I feel like Alain's right. Whether we're in the quiet phase or when we go public, there will be people who will want to make contributions, either maybe with certain caveats or want to be recognized in certain ways, and professionals can manage that for us, and manage it in a way that we don't damage a relationship that could lead to something interesting. So that piece. And I think, Jeff, if I remember correctly, when we were speaking with Brent, the feasibility study, I think we would get a contract price on doing the feasibility study, but the actual fee for the fundraising campaign, I think that's where we need to understand more about what the fee structure might look like.
Okay.
I think you're probably right about that, Victoria.
Okay. Was there anybody else before Councillor Surratt speaks on the matter again? Or you're good, Councillor Surratt? Okay. Anybody else have any questions or anything to add? Go ahead, CEO Gushu.
Yeah, sorry, just one thing to add. I did a quick search here and I found an email that I sent to Alain Victoria back in January after I'd spoken with Jean-Paul Desjardins from Shediac. So I'll send that to you, Nicole, and that can be circulated to the entire group. It just provides some detail. It was immediately after the call, so it's my memory then was probably better than it is 6 months later.
Okay. Sounds good. So, right, go ahead, Durham.
It's just to add, and I can't help but thinking by plugging in with a professional, the feasibility study, for this group, it sort of reveals the potential that's there for fundraising. And so without knowing that, if we went out on our own, you might undershoot what was out there. And we've got to set our sights as big as possible, and experts will help with that.
For sure.
The other thing is, the platforms and the technology and the ways that you reach in to the community and the region and the province is changed, and they'll be dialed in on what's out there for options. And there's so many different new channels to reach people with a message and and charitable requests now, and it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this.
Sounds good. Anybody else? Sorry. So CEO Gushu, you're going to send me some more information on this, and this will be something that I share with the group. Tell me how to proceed with this, or help me proceed with this.
Yeah, so the email I sent you, please feel free to share it.
Okay.
It's a public, it can be a public document. There's nothing private within it, or potentially embarrassing to me. No, it's all good. So that can be shared. I think the next step is maybe if there were a motion to investigate or to prepare a request for proposals for fundraising consultant, then we can begin trying to formulate that document. As this committee is meeting weekly, obviously won't go out before the committee has a chance to look at it, understand it, and actually approve issuing it.
Okay. So is somebody willing to make that motion? Thank you, Warden Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Allen. Is there any other comments or questions on that motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. Contrary, raise your hand. Motion carried. Good. Good next step.
Just Nicole,
Yes.
for clarity, I don't mind taking the lead in the preparation of that
Okay.
document with the support of the other CAOs.
Okay, thank
in
you.
Durham.
Excellent, thank you. Next, we're going to move on to 4.3, update on letters. So I just had asked Frank, and actually Scott is here as well. I just kind of want an update to see how things are going with the letters, if we're getting letters, if they need some support with that or some help with that. So just a quick update, I guess, Frank or Scott.
I'll start, and Scott's got some coming in, but we have a total of 18 letters that have come in, with lots of people saying that they will have a letter for us by noon on Friday. So just a quick little rundown on some of the key ones. We've received letters from Seniors for Seniors. We've received letters from both town and municipal accessibility committees. Villa St. Joseph, Yarmouth Area Community Fund, Yarmouth Acadian Shores Tourism, Shift Youth Services, Hope Center, Yarmouth Pride, Yarmouth County EMO, VON Adult Daycare Program. So we're getting a variety of groups lending support. I did send out a few emails connecting with the WREN, Doctors Nova Scotia, in particular, Dr. Brian Moses, Yarmouth Mental Health Services, and they're working on letters. So, and I think some of our committee members were doing some work behind the scenes trying to get some groups to forward letters on. So I'll let Scott give an update on his end, but if anyone has letters of support, fire them my way.
That's good. Thanks, Frank. Scott?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. We have, I think, 5 that have come in, and I'm waiting for another one. So there's 2 schools that have responded, and then the Viraj Historic in West Pamlico, and we have a couple of like minor soccer, minor baseball, and that's at this point that's the only one that has reached out to us. We made a follow-up email today, but only get 1 response right now.
Okay. Thank you. How do you feel about that, Mark? Well, he may have stepped away. Okay. Good. Thank you. I'll go ahead, Councillor Surratt.
I read the email, I think it's either Pam or Nicole that sent that out, and about national, and they didn't want quantity, they wanted quality, but what Frank and Scott have named there, to me, those are all good. I don't know what other people think, but I agree, the more I know quality is good, but a lot of those that both these gentlemen have said this, to me, makes sense. Your
Absolutely.
opinion is, Nicole, is that?
Oh, yes, yeah. They're great organizations that support what we're looking for in this application. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
A letter will be coming from Jay Strong. Marla's writing that at the moment.
I can't hear Steve. Can you guys hear Steve? No. You're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
I don't know if you've seen.
There, now I hear you.
Okay, is that good school board internet? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so there will be a letter coming from Jay Strong, and I did forward a letter or an email from 13 members of the African Nova Scotian community, Frank. I don't know if you followed up with that, but there's some good ones on there. Maybe if you could reach back out to them and just let them know the deadline's there. I think they'd be willing to, so just an update there. African, maybe if you could update there.
Excellent.
Sorry, Steve, did you flip me their contacts? I think I got your note, but I kind of thought that maybe you were following up.
Nope, I forwarded that off and just said to make contact with you, just kind of following through and just playing the middleman to connect, and you can lead from there if you'd like.
Okay, so you didn't send me their contacts. They're going to get in touch with me?
Nope, I forwarded to them and I included you on the forward, so it should be one
Okay,
that connects
gotcha.
everyone. Yeah,
I'll connect with them right now. Sorry, I missed that.
no worries. Went out on Friday.
Great.
Okay, anything else on that one? So we're headed in the right direction. Sounds good. Okay. Next, 4.4 resolution. So when we were meeting about the project, we talked about, you know, all the boxes that we have to tick for the application. And one of the things that we talked about was, although each municipality did create a resolution and did pass a resolution, we thought about there should be one resolution confirming that municipal funding piece that comes from the 10 million confirmed number for the project that's signed by this committee. So signed by the chair, signed by the mayor and the 2 wardens. So that was recommended to us. I just kind of wanted to bring it up. So what are your thoughts? Anybody? Go ahead, CEO Gushu.
Sorry, just for clarification, it was recommended to you by
Diane.
Diane, okay. Then I think we should do it.
I think we should. So I go ahead, CEO Brooks.
So just for clarity then, and I'm recalling that discussion with Diane, I think what she was wanting us to do was to highlight the level of municipal collaboration. It makes us unique. It makes us stand out in the pack. So, you know, I think the resolutions have been delivered to the committee by the 3 councils. So I'm not sure what the structure of the resolution would be, but my recommendation would be that we absolutely point out the fact that, you know, the municipal collaboration is unique. And it speaks, you know, to the growth strategies and the collaboration goals that government has, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Any other thoughts? So we definitely should make a resolution. Who will be in charge of that is my next question. Who is going to draft that?
I won't say I'll agree to be in charge, Chair Albright, but I'll agree to take the lead as long as I have the collaboration of my counterparts.
Okay, sounds good. I'm sure Alain is on board. I'm voluntolding him, so yes, I knew you would be. Okay, sounds good.
We're moving too.
I know.
Okay, just
I know.
let you know, Madam Chair, with
Yes.
respect.
I try not to text you too many times a day because I realize that you're moving.
It's all good. It's all good.
We were wondering if we would be able to see you fight with some packing tape and boxes and stuff today.
No, that was yesterday. Now it's more, you know, stuff like, you know, IT, insurance, desks, you know, things, you know, common things that you might want in an office. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
That's okay. So I spoke with Mark about the resolution, and And as he just reminded me, Diane wants it to be clear that $10 million is coming from the 3 councils, so that should be on there as well. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Okay, so we're good for that one. We'll move to 5, new business. So 5.1, projected expenses. Is there anything, Jerry Varon, is there anything for you to report for us today?
Oh, I haven't seen any bills come in for expenses at this point.
So good, so far so good.
So far, so good.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we are going to go, unless there's anything else before we move into camera. Okay, so I need a motion to move in camera. So moved by Councillor Surratt, seconded by Mayor Mood. All those in favor, raise your hand. Contrary, raise your hand. Motion carried. So we will wait until Vicky. Find the agenda again. Of course, we can never find the agenda. So next meeting date. So next week is when Mark is hoping to have the application in by the 30th, right, Mark?
That's correct.
Okay, so do we want to meet on that day? Do we want to meet a day before that? What's the feeling of the committee? What would you prefer, Mark?
It doesn't matter. We're basically done on Friday, just waiting for a couple of letters and attachments where the work's done.
Okay, so we're still good for the Wednesday? Yeah. Okay, 3 o'clock, does that still work?
3:30, you mean?
3 or 3:30?
3 or 3:30? We were doing 3 now, we moved it to 3:30.
No, 3 is good for me.
3 is good? Okay, so next meeting is Wednesday, June 30th at 3 o'clock. And we just need somebody to move to adjourn. Thank you, Daniel, seconded by Steve. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Contrary, motion carried. Thank you, everybody. Another
That'll
good-
be report card day, right, Nicole?
It will be the last day of school. Yes, report cards. Yeah, I know, Steve. We may be a little tired that day, but that's okay.
Steve and Nicole are busy writing all the time now.